We can sit right here.
We have a motion to go back into regular session. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are back into regular session at 10:05, and there is no action due to the executive session. Next item on the agenda, Historical Landmark Commission. I guess the first thing I need to do is apologize, because when you all indicated that, or somebody indicated that you had submitted the resignations that were the part of the issue last time, I got to looking through my briefcase, and we get stacks of information, and I thought everybody had gotten the stack of information, but apparently it was just up here on my desk, and I took it home, and so I had that. And I apologize for any confusion for that. So, whoever is going to speak for the Historical Landmark Commission?
Actually, I don't think we were going to speak. It was put on the agenda automatically.
Okay. Okay. So we needed to do some research and check out what had been done. I gave that package to you, didn't I? Okay. So there was, and I believe that somebody had suggested some revisions to the not charter, but what?
The bylaws.
The bylaws, yeah.
It was at the June 7th, 2016 meeting. What happened was it was not put on the correctly, that part of it, so it was tabled until another meeting, and
Okay.
it came back in.
Okay. So, other than being on the, we haven't indicated that we were going to review and change the, or vote on the suggested changes. So we probably need to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. If that was what, was that one thing that was desired, was to change the bylaws?
Well, it's kind of, I talked to SHPO, and there's two issues. There is the Blockhouse Hill Cemetery that is a 501c3 that has their own account. Then there's this Blockhouse Hill Historic Landmarks Commission, and somehow they got separated, and it's still an active, I looked on their website, it's still an active, it's in good standing with the IRS, the 501c3 is. And I talked to SHPO, and they said that it doesn't sound like it is an HLC in the true sense of the word. We were just more or less set up as a nonprofit, because the Historic Landmarks Commission has certain things that you have to follow with the state, and you're approved by SHPO. And I don't know that this was so long ago, back in the 80s. So, and I talked to Ora Ash, and he said, well, he doesn't even remember. He said that he just remembers sometimes people would come in and ask to have a new person put on the board, and they would approve it. So,
This is not how the secretary is supposed to be. This is how this is happening. So this is entirely copy. And so
The Historic Landmark Commission was, the effective date was 10/14/1983. It indicates that it's active. And it indicates notice of process is Patricia Harris. Officers Annie M. Gray, Frank Holtz, Patricia J. Harris, Sandra L. Davis, Jennifer Wilk, Sherry Harris, and Patricia J. Harris. What are we being asked to do? Number one.
Yeah, we were appointed a job, and I just need to know what we're supposed to do. You know, I was appointed on the Historic Landmarks Commission, and I see the value of a Historic Landmarks Commission.
Greg, if I could explain a little bit, I was
Okay.
the one that you asked the Historical Society to take the job of managing. You might remember that, I'm not sure.
I
know you have
remember
a lot to go through your
that
plate.
coming up before the commission. I
Right.
don't know, it's been a couple,
Yeah.
3 years ago.
And if you look on that 1983 document that you guys were looking at, I believe you have it. It should be from November 7th, like this one. Is that what you have? Okay. If you look at the very bottom on line 3, the reason why we put the account with the Historical Society, that is what you asked us to do at the time, but also when we came to do this, it said to appoint a chairman and a secretary, but said nothing about a treasurer. And since we already had that in the Historical Society and paying to have it mowed, and we were doing a good job of it, I believe. Ray Leggett has done a phenomenal job. He hand blows those stones after he mows to keep them clean. But the reasoning that we did that was because when you asked if the Historical Society would handle that, if you remember, she had made a comment that we didn't solicit for funding for that, and you probably were not aware of it, but I also have a letter here from the Wheeling Diocese where we did ask last year. And I will print you this is just Block Catskill. I will print you a copy of this and give it to Beth, and you guys can have it and look through it at your leisure. Or I can put it on a flash drive, whichever works better for you guys. But anyway, you asked us to do that, and at that time, I told you that the Historical Society did not have the finances to pay to have that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you said, well, if you will take over and do it, we will take care of the financial end of it. But we still did call the diocese, and she wrote them a letter instead, also. And then also the one in Clarksburg, we tried to get funding from that. Just because if we could get it, it would be a good thing. We weren't meaning to just dump it all on the commission. So we did try. They had given $4,000 and some several years ago. Oh, that's been before our time. So we thought, perhaps they would do that again. And that CD that she was talking about, she seconded the motion for that. She probably doesn't remember it, and I'm not trying to
Well,
criticize.
no, I have minutes that, it was like approved in January, it still wasn't done in June. There's 3 organizations involved here. That's why it's so confusing. You have the Historical Society, you have the Historic Landmarks Commission, then you have this separate, registered with the Secretary of State, a nonprofit 501c3 called the Doddridge County Blockhouse Hill Historic Landmarks Commission. And as far as the bylaws go, I guess I'm confused because we submitted new bylaws, But if we were just doing the cemetery and it was turned over, what was the point? You know, I guess I just don't know what we're supposed to do.
And those new bylaws, I had told Val, and then so everything's so verbal, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot then. But if you remember, I had told you that we did not need an official approval. All we needed was just a verbal for you guys to say, you know, yes, it looks okay, we'll go with this. Then I would send that to Jennifer Brennan, and then she would officially do that. We'd send it back to you guys, and then you could officially say, so then we're all on the same page at that point. And it just never happened. And we got busy with other things, and it's one of those things, we dropped the ball on that one. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. I will take that because I didn't hear and I should have followed up.
Apparently there was some funds transferred, and
You're talking about the 6,000 out of the CD that we,
yeah, and then there was $10,257.01 that was replaced in a savings account.
well, now that's where Sherry would follow more on that. She's the treasurer. But we have it all documented, and if I could, do you have the date?
This was in minutes, June 9th, 2015.
Oh, that was when we first took over, and we had to have the mowing done there, and we were aware that you guys were going to be, you know, helping us out financially. But we had those trees cut down for $3,000 of that, and I have photos of the tree.
Yeah, the trees were cut
Trees
down.
that we
Three
took down, and we were told that they weren't necessary to be taken down. May I step up for a minute?
Sure.
I'll make it quick. And I don't want to be adversarial, I just want us all to understand. Everything we've ever done is in this notebook. But these are, you can have a look, that is the massive size of the trees. If you look on the back of it, you can see what it looked like when they were taken down.
And while you're looking at those, there's been a lot of overlap, because if you look at the minutes that I sent Randy, the Historic Landmarks Commission
You can
always
see
voted
how
on
that
what
is
happened
paid,
at
and there's the
Center.
other one and how they paid it.
Always.
They were both in, we had an Aspen guy come out and look at it, and he didn't want the job because they were so decayed in the middle. Gilbert checked, you had like three different people out there?
Yes,
3 or 4.
you can name some of them.
Yeah. And Ray Leggett agreed to take them down and did a wonderful job. And even cleaned everything up for us for $3,000, and we thought that was a very fair price.
So basically, all the Historic Landmarks Commission needs to know is the Historical Society has the money. The Historic Landmarks Commission has always made the decisions. Do we sever the two? You know, because, and then even up until last September, we were making the decisions.
The fact is, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to sever, I have no issue with that. Just so much has happened. I have no animosity to her whatsoever at all, but we'll never be able to work together. And the best way not to argue is just not to work together. So, as long as it's understood and you guys can go through this and see that the Historical Society did not do anything wrong, and that's why we would do it, I would say I will willingly turn that back to the commission, the account for the mowing, but not because we did something wrong and we're forced to give it up. Let's try to keep it peaceful and just sever the ties. I hope that's agreeable with everyone.
Um,
Thank you.
That that would mean that you would have to be able to accept the funds and disperse them, so.
And it was that way up until 2 years ago. There's still a Blockhouse Cemetery account, and I think that's what it still is in, but I'm uncertain.
And part of the reason is, and I think I mentioned this last time, the reason was that those who were in charge of that are getting on in years and didn't want to. Is that?
And it is, and it's my understanding that it was not the property of the county until they turned it all over and just basically put it in your lap and said, here it is, we don't want it anymore. That was my understanding of it. So they could have that because it wasn't owned by the commission. Now, at this point, the cemetery is owned by the county, like it or not, it got dumped in your lap. So I don't know if there is an issue there, whether they can or cannot handle that account, but if they can, you get no argument from us whatsoever.
But there's no actual deed.
There's no what?
There's no deed to those cemeteries. They just die away. They were just abandoned. So you can't have a deed to something that was never. I mean, I don't know that you can come in. I know there's a process to go in and do that with the state, to go in and like claim to something, but I don't know that that was ever done. But there's nothing on record that I can find. Like I said, the thing has been abandoned 3 times over the years. There's newspaper articles about it. And 3 years ago, when I went there, you couldn't even see the lower portion of it. That's whenever we got a bunch of AmeriCorps in there and had volunteers, we cleaned it up.
The
And-
Historical Society would be part of
Yes,
this too, Jen.
yeah.
What? And
Can they
I
have?
hate for this to be like a legal process, but what I would kind of like to see is an actual, so that there would be no question, an actual accounting of dollars and a legal type opinion as to the county commission's options. It's kind of what I'd like to see. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think one way or another, I mean, there has to be a legal standing on what I'm going to do because
Well,
we certainly,
But the only difference now is that it is not an independent cemetery, it is the property of the county commission.
No, it's not.
you can't.
There's no
you
deed
can't-
to it.
No. You guys don't own the cemetery. You guys just, in
Uh-uh.
1983, you set up an organization to, that will perpetually take care of it. And then people could come in and be appointed to the,
I was
but I have
told
spent
that
hours.
when we took over, that was the implication. I'm not saying on your part, I'm just saying that's kind of where we thought, we believed it to be at that point. And there's no one doing any,
Well,
wrong
I
here.
kind of think that was the implication at the time.
Right.
I think probably what happened was that it wasn't followed up on in the legal process of it actually being transferred over. I think.
I just have a question about the number of people that were listed as members. I mean, I think some of those people are dead.
Yeah, that's not a current one.
That's,
The current
that's
one
the
is-
first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing is does the Historic Landmark Commission, being that hooked with the state and all these different historic things, are you allowed to be your own physical agent? Isn't that why the Historic Society was made the physical agent for?
It was, but nobody knew that there was already this 501c3 in place. That's because for years, this Historic Landmarks Commission.
Yeah, but even it's a
Just wait. For years, the Historic Landmarks Commission handled the cemetery. They had a fund, a 501c3 that the money went into.
That was
And then you have
Pauline Hall.
historic, it's not, it's current.
The Blockhouse Hill Cemetery Association was the one who was taking care of it, Pauline Hall and the whole group. Terry McConnell was in it, and all but one person has died off on that group, I believe. This Historic Landmark Commission for the Blockhouse Cemetery, I had never heard about that until you all came.
But if you look on the Secretary of State's webpage, it's called the Blockhouse Hill Historic Landmarks Commission. And it's been that way. Sherry knows because last year she filled out the card for it.
Well, but it was
I have a
Pauline,
copy right here.
Pauline Hall that brought the stuff to you guys, wasn't it? And they're the ones that had the money.
I think personally what we need to do is step back and get all the facts. And once we, I mean, you know, it's quite obvious that there's various opinions about what has or hasn't happened. And I think what we need to do is to know the facts and not speculation, and nobody take offense to that. But we need to find out what the facts are, and then if things weren't done right, okay, let's change that and do them right. And since there's no issue as far as if it's separated, then if there's no issue, then maybe that's the solution. But my feeling is we get some legal opinions and we do this properly so that in 6 months or a year we're not back here dealing with the same issues. You know, I'm all for doing things right and doing them so that we can put them behind us and on to the next crisis.
I'm just gonna leave these, you can keep them. This is where it was paid in the thing in Charleston for both years. That might be beneficial to you in doing that, so you can just keep that.
Well, the historic landmarks thing. See, that's what, it's just, and I can see where you guys are confused, because even having attended the meeting, you're confused. Because there was so much overlap and no separation of duties between the two organizations. So, you know, that's just where the confusion lies.
Yeah, well, you know, things like this can happen, and things we can assume that things are going to occur, but as we have seen in the recent past, sometimes when you assume incorrectly. Well, we all know the old saying about assuming, so.
But I think Ms. Beamer's saying that there was not a Blockhouse Hill Historic Landmarks Commission.
No, I'm
I think you can
saying,
see that there was.
I'm saying that physically who was doing the work was Pauline Hall and the Blockhouse Hill Cemetery Association. That's who we made our checks to
Who's the
take
name-
care of.
Who's the checking account? What's the checking account on the CD and on the thing that you write the funds for to pay Mr. Leggett?
Your name's on that.
Well, I know, but what's the name on the account? Does it say Doddridge County Historical Society or does it say Blockhouse Hill Cemetery?
Absolutely not. We would not cross those over. It says Blockhouse Hill Cemetery. Well, I've got a bank statement. It says Doddridge County Blockhouse Hill Cemetery.
Is that the same account that Pauline had?
I'm not sure about that. And you know, honestly, guys, it says Doddridge County Blockhouse Hill Cemetery, and then it's got historical. I'm assuming the computer didn't have room to write the rest of it. So I'm going to say that it's under, you use your own judgment. But we tried to keep it, you know, so that it stayed its own entity. It should have said Historic Landmark Commission. I believe that's where it just ran off, the computer didn't print it.
Before it's printed out. And when people donate, I'm assuming they think that there is a tax deductible donation that I don't even know. So, you know, I don't know where any of that falls in.
Well, back in the day, we were donating to have our people's graves done.
Pardon me?
We were
Your
donating,
camera's right in your, covering your mouth.
we donated so our families' graves would be done.
Well, absolutely.
It wasn't for
Yeah,
charity.
People don't do that anymore.
Like I say, let's get our ducks in a row, and whenever you all have the information, and then we'll need to get, I think, probably the assistant prosecutor involved in this, and then we'll have a meeting when you all have all the information, and our assistant prosecutor has indicated what we should do legally, then we'll bring it back to the county commission meeting, and we will make a decision at that point.
We need, as a historic landmarks commission, I can't provide you with anything unless I have the books for the historic landmarks commission. All the minutes and
You was
the
the
decisions. You came with a prefab thing and then I handed it back to you.
that? You asked.
Well, it's good. Do you have them?
Of course, they're right
Okay, so, I mean, I can't make decisions as a historic or give you any information if I don't have the information.
Well, we should be able to filter through all that. But we need all this information before we can make a decision, I think, and that's probably gonna be impacted by the funding requests that we've gotten.
And obviously, the funding that we put on for the blockhouse hill would be removed, depending whatever your decision would be. And we're good
And
with
it looks to me like it's going to be a pretty simple separation with paperwork. I mean, with business already set up and set, assigning board members, it shouldn't, I wouldn't think there would be anything complicated about it. It looks to me like it's there, we just haven't quite maybe put it
Dotted
needs
all
to
the,
be.
dotted all the i's
Yeah,
and
I
crossed
mean,
the
I
t's.
think it's there, it looks to me like it's there.
Well, I'm going to go ahead. All I can do is this account with the Secretary of State. I need to file the card before May to keep it current. So I guess I'll just call it. I have no login information to do that,
You need to,
to keep the
Secretary of
blockhouse
State.
hill thing current, yeah.
for the business.
For the, because I don't want to see freedom. And all I care about is the certificate.
We need to keep that, need to.
We all care about that,
Right.
very much. And I also care very much about the reputation of the Historic Landmark Commission and the Historical Society. They've both been important to me.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to see a smooth transition, whatever that would be,
Well,
without allegations that, you know, anybody did anything wrong
Yeah.
on either side.
and that's what we'd
Well, I
like
don't
to see.
think that's the case. I mean, I don't feel that way. You know, whatever it takes to get what you need done by May, would be nice if we could get that done.
It is, man.
And then
Now,
that-
Ray is knowing now.
Well, that's, well, no, we're not.
So we
Well, I
continue,
think-
should we
here's-
continue to pay them until such
Here's
time?
what I think.
Well, you would be, that should have been in last year's budget, so up until July, right? That-
Up until June 30th,
June 30th.
you've received
And
money.
we should surely
Okay,
have
so
that
we
taken
can-
care of, and then we'll just,
Okay, now, as far as that goes, if as a separate organization we were to request funds, I wouldn't know what to base that on because I don't know what's left in the CD. So if somebody could point out.
Well, what,
It's all in here.
yeah, what they're going to do is provide us with an accounting.
I'll make 3 DVDs that will be all of this for each one of you guys. And Beth, do you want one?
Okay, so we'll have that information. That's part of what we're asking to come back to us.
that'll work.
And then at that time, we'll make a decision, and if that wasn't until August, let's say, and I'm just saying, for instance, you know, what we would have approved for your budget, we can find a way to get that over if that's the agreement.
Can we, do we just like request a revision on that and remove that? Whatever the procedure is you guys want to do is fine.
Okay. Well, I think we can take care of that when we're in the process of approving any requests. We can figure that out. Okay? All right. Anything else from? Okay. All right. DC Fair Board funding request.
I'm not here to make any other presentations or anything like this. We've had our discussions, we've turned in our requests, and our financial have been filed as well. We, as you know, we're in a bit of a quandary in that we asked for an additional $10,000 out of this year's budget, and then funding from next year, as we have normally done. Put on the agenda today, in the essence of time, by Randy and Beth, as far as that goes, to make decisions at least on the current year's funding. And we'd like for you to formally respond to that at this point. And I'm here to answer any questions you'd like to have.
Okay. We have any?
So you want $10,000 net, right?
Yes.
Out of your budget request.
What's that?
Out of the budget request for,
You received two budget
Yeah.
requests. Yeah. And the other one you'll have decisions on by next week anyway, right? So, yeah. So we're looking at settling the one first for this year, and then looking at working with the one at your next meeting for next fiscal year's budget.
Any questions, Sean?
So this will be in addition to next year's.
That was our request, yes.
My thought is this, I don't have any problem approving a request, but what I'm leaning towards would be making that an advance against this next year's request. So that's my feelings.
We can deal with that. I have no problem with that. I just put it in as two separate requests because it handled two different fiscal years.
Right. But that's simply my feeling. Okay. Well, we do need to make a motion if that's what we want to do. Does somebody want to make a motion with the amount of money that you're making the motion for?
Over 10,000. It was 10,000 I requested, yes.
I'll make the motion.
Ronnie has made the motion for $10,000 request, funding request. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Greg Cottrell.
I don't even know what to say. We'll just get started. There are two items on your agenda relating to me. It should be part, but whatever. The first one is we did hire a part-time employee, Boyd Miller, to be worked through the summer, 30 hours a week, beginning in April, has already begun, and working through the end of October. That is a park budgeted item, and we will reimburse the commission for all expenses of that person since you handle the payroll for the park. And Beth, Mrs. Keller, will send an invoice to me on a bi-monthly or quarterly basis to reimburse for that. So we have hired a new employee. He is a 2014 graduate of Dodge County, living on from the Long Run area. So just making you aware of that. I'm not certain if an approval is necessary there, but just making you aware of that.
Okay.
And then the second item there is the request that I presented a couple meetings ago or whatnot on doing some additional funding for road improvements for the park. And you had asked for an official firm quote, and it we went out to bid, advertised in the Clarksburg paper, and received we actually received 9 quotes. The 8 of them are detailed here. One was not correctly bid properly, so that was not included. The detail on the page after that shows that Wolf Excavating of Clarksburg was the low bidder at $189,741.68 for the road improvements that are detailed on the last page of your packet, basically referring to section 1, 2, and 3 of that map. The barn road side, as well as the pool side and the veterans shelter side. So it came out to $189,741.68 for the entire project. As you requested, to return and ask for funding to handle the widening of the road on the barn side and the pavement of the lower barn road where the gravel is located, so that we can make that the permanent road in direction 2 ways, both multi-directional, and then basically block off or utilize for loading and unloading the current one-way road that runs right beside the barn, which we feel, and I think over multiple years, has been a discussion. That's why the original road, or the new road, was put lower down to get it away from the building for people, children, etc. And we'll just use that for loading and unloading. So our project is commencing. We went to bid. We had a formal bid opening. We had a pre-bid conference with the Wolf's Excavating, so everything is poised to, and they technically did start yesterday on a segment of the property that is of the project that's already being funded. So just wanting to revisit the issue of funding for the board or the barn road. So we did have 8 bids, variety of different locations. So some people didn't bid that requested information. Some in county, not in county, but more local people that have actually done work in the county before. But I felt comfortable with 8 quotes. That was a pretty good representation. So.
So how much did you had told us that the park had?
We had approved $128,000 for our reserve savings that we had stocked away for the project for the pool side and the veteran side. And actually did receive a $12,000 some odd check that was the balance for the veteran shelter. That was we did put towards that also, included that 128. So that side, if you look at your spread, was came out to 105,525, leaving the 84 for the barn side. But we had approved, the park board had approved the 120,000 for that side. So go ahead.
Are you looking for 71,741.68 to?
Well, that's a question, because we're looking for anything we can get, but we could either, the bid for the barn segmented out was 84,216. If you would like to do the balance against the 128, that is certainly up to you.
Personally, I think, and I most certainly know where you're coming from, but with my earlier comments.
Well, you're on the opposite ends of this little negotiation, aren't we? But I will say, to your point, we have been saving, and this is in our reserve account, and we are trying to be prudent with our monies.
Right.
And so, you know, we firmly respect that we don't want to come here and ask for money on everything, and we certainly don't want to do that. We want to handle our requests as a department of the county through the budget process.
Right.
And this is our only option, not our only option, but our only visit to the county commission this year for funding requests was to help do that segment of the project. So.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the other
So
commissioners?
you won $71,000, okay? I mean, suggest $71,000, okay? Out of this year's money for all of us, right?
For
Yes.
16,
Yes,
17.
It's
It's
60, I'm sorry, I added in, I subtracted in
61,000.
61,000.
Okay, that's, I just want to have, I think you're bad.
Yeah,
Well, now,
I'm sorry.
so it's getting lower and lower here.
I know. So when you want $61,000,
Well,
61, 741, 68 is the difference
yeah.
between what you had, what the park has.
I will defer to your math.
But now this is the last time you come before us this year and next year?
You're gonna leave us.
Well, there's a couple different ways I could answer that. This budget year, I promise I won't do that this budget year.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Sure. I think,
Now, my thing, I hear a lot of people that, man, you gotta give too much money for the park out there. And I hear, you know, you know how to work people,
yep,
in this county, you can't please everybody. Or, you know.
you know, obviously the decision is yours.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the opportunity to analyze the information and discuss it and make a, you know, I felt like it's my job to make sure that you have the opportunity to decide.
Can you get by until after we have the meeting Monday night? The nation thing?
Well, I was instructed to come here versus Monday because I'm a department of the county versus a true 501c3. So that's up to you. But
Yeah, I think the original intent was out of this year's budget.
oh, certainly, yes, yeah, yeah. This is 16, 17 discussion, not 17, 18.
Right. That was my
Yeah,
understanding.
Yes.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and I won't be there on Monday.
Good.
Well, you know, I use, my family uses a park a lot. I'm willing to give some money. I'm not willing to give 61, but, I mean, I'd go 40, they want 40,000. They can manage, they can finish up the project with that, I would do that.
We
I think
would,
we can.
I mean, obviously, we'll be appreciative of anything that you would donate to the project.
I think you guys come out to do.
Yes.
It's 21,000.
We would utilize our reserve account, yes. The difference is, well, 71 and
61.
66.
61 and 40, and we would have to do 20 grand.
Is there any other discussion? Does someone have a motion? Well, that's what we have to decide. Someone has to make a motion on.
You want to make a motion on 40,000?
You do? You make a motion for 40,000? We have a motion for 40,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. I'll say aye because I thought that we should have given a higher amount. But motion carries for $40,000.
Why didn't you say so?
Well,
We can talk all the whole meeting, and you don't talk.
no, I thought that it was, that we.
But you can get it done.
We can get it
Can you get it
done.
done?
It will be done.
That's it.
It will be done, it will be done. All work will be.
Because we'll see you after July 1st anyway.
No,
We'll be
you
back
won't.
on Sunday.
Not for money. That all work will be done by Wilkes Excavating, and their anticipated completion date is Friday before the 26th, so I think it's the 19th. And then the striping would occur the week before Memorial Day. So, yeah.
Before Memorial Day.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, we're not pushing this project past Memorial Day. We will have it done. I don't want it to interfere with the pool.
I know that intersection, the barn is probably one of the most important ones to me,
Yeah.
because
Well,
that's a mess in the summertime when we're used to the water.
yeah, that barn road is very wet, you know, the culverts, taking both culverts out of both ends of the parking lot there, replacing those with trench drains, that'll be taken care of, widening the road, paving the veterans lot, all that will be taken care of.
When do you anticipate, number 5 on there, the parking lot?
I'm sorry, which one was number 5?
Number 5 is the parking lot below the barn?
Actually, the board, the board of the park commissioners rank that as actually 4th versus the gravel lot up top. They've switched, in our meetings, they've actually switched it. They put a higher priority on the barn versus the existing gravel lot. We've operated with that gravel lot for years, so that is the next one to do. And actually, in 17-18, we have set aside $50,000 from our proceeds of our levying operation to possibly do that. The barn parking lot, possibly this fall. It really falls down to commission and the commissioners, park commissioners, and making that decision. But that is our priority, would be to add that parking. With increased activity at the barn, weddings, usage, I've got 3 weddings at the barn this summer, just all kinds of usage. We've got the 4-H separating now from the fair, so we've got those 2 week-long activities. So there's a lot of parking as well as foot traffic in and out of that barn. But I think that parking lot, and we don't have really handicap accessibility parking spaces too, so we want to fix all that at the same time. So they did prioritize that, and we did put $50,000 in our budget separated for that project.
Do you have any kind of a ballpark or an estimate of what it will cost, or was that the $50,000?
No, yeah, that would cover the estimate, but the formal estimate from Thrasher on that segment. Yeah,
Yeah, what's listed on there is number 5.
yeah, and the formal estimate for that lot was $60,090. That was Thrasher's estimate, but they are a little on the high side, you know, to be prudent, and so we put 50 aside for that. And then if we have to, we'll go to public bid, we'll get bids opening, and if it comes under, would be great, and then we put 50 aside for it. So,
Okay. You already have
yes, in our 17-18 budget, yes. It is scheduled,
in your 17-18?
yes, we have done that, and it is a
July 1st, we'll have that done before
it'll be the fall thing. But anticipating that we schedule out our projects for the next calendar year. So we've got playground revamp, we've got that parking lot, we've got, there's like 5 what I would call capital things. New playground, that parking lot, and I apologize, I can't remember the other 3. 1 roof, we need to replace a roof, and 2 other things. Those are scheduled out to be done in 17-18. The fall is for the parking lot, as well as fall would be for the playground revamp.
So it won't be done before the fair?
No, not, we didn't include it in this bid process, we only did 1, 2, and 3, so we didn't do that. We felt the estimated cost was $220, came in at $189, which we're happy with, obviously, but we didn't really anticipate doing that segment of it. So we put it off, yeah.
I just
the,
thought,
you know, you could just move them in May, instead of 2 weeks ago in July, and do that tomorrow, and that's done.
We're working hard, guys. We're working hard. Promise. 2 seconds. It's Give Local Day, Mid-Ohio Valley. If you support the park or the Humane Society or 4-H, you log on to givelocalmov.org. You can make a contribution that is matched 2 or 3 times. And all those organizations have been receiving gifts throughout the day. It's a 24-hour fundraising effort. So think about it. You already have one.
all right.
Anybody would like a reminder? There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome.
I already did, and I challenge the other commissioners too.
Love that. Love that.
Sorry, guys. I know, I can tell from the sound of that, I'm gonna get you back.
Any nonprofit that's involved.
Now, what did you say, I think you explained that
Yeah,
when you make a contribution, it is matched?
the parks segment would be 2 times. So if you make a $10 donation, you get 30. I'm not, each individual organization has a different matching threshold.
Okay.
I did some individual fundraising. Dominion gave me $2,500 to be a part of our match. So then the Parks for Garrett Community Foundation does match, and then there's a couple other ways. So if you give $100, it'll be $300. I'm not certain about the match.
About the others.
Right, I'm not certain. Could be, if you give 100 to Humane Society, you get just another 100. I'm not sure how that, each one's different. So, but
Okay.
hopefully we'll get our, my goal is $2,500 today, and we'll make 8,000. Give or take.
When I was on there this morning, what it said on the website, and I presumed that was all 3 organizations. It said 17,000 and something.
That was that was all 43 organizations had raised $17,000
Okay.
total, and that number's up to, I just looked before I spoke, was about 80.
Okay.
$80,000 for all 43 organizations have been
Okay.
pledged up to right now.
Okay, I had
You have to look,
misinterpreted.
yeah, you have to look at individual, I'll break down to the 43, which I don't think you have access to. Yeah, we're getting there.
All right.
Thank you. Oh,
I don't want your call.
thank
I
you.
don't need your call, I have something.
All right. I wish you a short meeting.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, DCAA. Approve update to compliance manual, approve part-time hires, and approve non-emergency transport contract for Sistersville Center.
Could we go into executive session for item number 1?
For item number 1, do we have a motion? We have a motion to go into executive session for item number 1, approve update to compliance manual. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Huh?
At 10:52.
I know.